Polly. Seduction. Dash. DC. Dash. Scatter shot. Scatter shot. Polly. Earthbind. Sweeping strikes. Recklessness. Ice block. Earthbind. Evocation.
Robert, din mick har fastnat. jävlar. Jo, silence. Men det beror på liksom, vad var det för silence? Aha, då kan du inte. Blir det en tar du? Bara en globa.
Silence.
Ja, blir du silenced under press så kan du ju... Ska du kunna. Till exempel, du ska kunna poppa bort blind ifrån det också.
Freezing trap.
What's it been like for all of you who raised your hands to say that you're on the side of the religion? To hear speaker after speaker, scientist after scientist, tell you that you are nothing but a superstitious, backward, knuckle-dragging Neanderthal. Don't you know that science has replaced religion? In fact, in the one slide I'm going to use, miracles of modern technology. Okay, now you see the evolution of man? That guy over there at the very end, that's the evolutionary scientist. If you count a few back, you get the man who believes that the Apollo landing was in a television studio. Just behind him is the man who believes that the earth is flat. And all the way on the bottom, the guy like this, he believes that Elvis is still alive. And just behind him is the guy who believes in God. We're too mature to play games. Religion involves not much more faith than science. First of all, if we want to believe in God because we're afraid of death, would we really have invented a God who judges us after death? Is that comforting? On the contrary, if you were someone who ran a crematory at Auschwitz, what would you prefer to believe? That there's a God who's going to catch up to you and enact justice? Or that you can escape in the silence of the grave? In fact, Aldous Huxley said that atheism itself has intellectual reasons for the dismissal of God. Aldous Huxley was from the most famous of all evolutionary families. He said, I had reasons for the world not to have meaning. The philosophy of meaningless was an instrument of my liberation from morality because it interfered with my sexual freedom. Which is very nice. First of all, that there's a scientist who can be very forthright and candid. And secondly, it's nice to know there's still a guy in England having sex. Now, my friends, let's first begin with the faith inherent in science. Science says that a series of genetic mistakes, genetic mutations, led to the great complexity of our world. How complex? Well, if the Earth wasn't tilted 23 degrees on its axis, giant mountains of ice would be caused by the water vapor from the oceans. It would decimate life on Earth. If the Earth did not rotate 1,000 miles an hour on its own axis, if it were slower, it would freeze seedlings at night. It would scorch plants during the day. If the moon were any closer to our planet, then the tides would bring the oceans and make life on Earth impossible. The problem, however, is that genetic mutation, according to the scientists themselves, is so rare, about 1 in 1,000 is a DNA mutation, and second, they're never beneficial. These are mistakes. A.J. Miller is the man who devoted more study than any other individual to mutations. He says, the great majority of all mutations, certainly well over 99%, are harmful, as to be expected of the effect of an accidental occurrence. Muller goes on to say, and he won a Nobel Prize, good mutations are so rare that we can consider them all bad. Now, how many mutations would it take, for example, to create a horse? Well, for that we go to Julian Huxley, one of the world's most famous evolutionists. He says, a proportion of favorable mutations of 1 in 1,000 does not sound like much, but it's probably an understatement. With this proportion, get ready for this, we should have to breed 1 million strains, 1,000 squared, to get one containing 2 favorable mutations, and so on up to 1,000 to the millionth power, if you can even understand numbers these big, to get something containing 1 million. 1,000 to the millionth power is 1 with 3 million zeros after it. It would take 3 books of 500 pages just to write it. Now, why would anyone believe in this? The answer is simple. Science says given enough time, anything can happen. But if you speak about an infinity of time, how different is that to an infinite God? This becomes semantics. The two become almost too similar to distinguish. And I'm not saying evolution didn't happen. It could very well be that evolution is true. In fact, as someone who believes in the Bible also speaks about the progression from the mineral to the vegetable to the animal to the intellectual, an evolutionary progression. I'm simply saying the numbers this big, and Sam Harris is speaking right after me, address this. You're talking about numbers you can have all the time in the world, and
Dash.
something that has 300,000 zeros after it. How could it possibly take place without some sort of guiding hand? My friends, religion isn't really only about how the world is created, and that's just a sideshow. The chapters in Genesis that deal with the creation of the world are only 2 or 3.
Dash.
What religion really is the most radical statement in the history of the world, which is that every single one of you possesses the power to choose the kind of person you want to be. There is a God who gave us moral commandments, and that without God, then the laws of do not kill, do not steal, do not commit adultery are nothing but euphemisms for personal taste. Because if there isn't a God, who is the ultimate arbiter and the standard by which these laws have definition, then all we have are 2 different people who are disagreeing. I want Sam Harris to please address. A child is born and he has severe Down syndrome. He will never be anything but a burden to his parents. He has a financial strain.
Last stand.
Special needs children often even ruin the marriages of their parents. Why should we not euthanize that child? We get so upset that Hitler euthanized the infirm. But doesn't that sort of make sense? In fact, Francis Crick, who won a Nobel Prize for the DNA molecule, mapping the DNA molecule, said that we should really define birth as 2 days after parturition so that a baby could be examined for defects. And if those defects were sufficiently deleterious, we could declare the child to not yet have been born. The only reason we keep that child alive, even though we all live in societies of limited resources, is because life is sacred, not because of the quality of life, but the sanctity of life. There is no rational reason. Somewhere right now, there is a police officer in the north of Mexico, and he barely earns enough money to support his family. And a drug dealer wants to give him a few extra bucks to look the other way while they smuggle cocaine into the United States. And no one's ever going to find out, and no one's ever going to see, and no one's ever going to know. Tell me one reason that police officer should not take the money when he needs it for his family. Give me one moral reason other than the idea that there is justice in the world and that we have the power to choose our moral character. Everything we've heard in this conference is that people almost have no choice. Science seems to be going against choice. Biological determinism, genetic predisposition. Freud said we're far less masters of our own mental household than we otherwise suppose, and out of control id and ego. But religion says that at every moment you have the power to choose. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Sam Harris, welcome.
Cold blood.
Well, it's a great honor to be here.
Evasion.
It seems to have fallen to me and my colleagues, Christopher and Dan, to argue against God in what I am now told is the most religious state in your nation. I'm encouraged by the show of hands here. I just want to assure those of you who are religious here that our purpose is not to offend you this morning, but I will nevertheless repay your hospitality by telling you exactly what I think about religion. Now, as someone who has spent the last 2 years criticizing religious faith, I've become quite familiar with how people of faith rise to the defense of God. As it turns out, there are not 100 ways of doing this. There appear to be just 3. Either you argue that a specific religion is true, or you argue that religion is useful, or you attack atheism as intolerant, elitist, or otherwise corrosive of basic human values. Now, the only line of argument that is relevant to this debate, or indeed any debate about the validity of religion, is an argument that religion is true. Or rather, that one religion is true, because, of course, they can't all be true. In fact, our opponents here stand for 2 distinct and mutually incompatible faiths. Was Jesus Christ the Messiah? The rabbi and Dinesh are not likely to agree on that point. As Bertrand Russell pointed out over 100 years ago, even if we knew one of the earth's religions was true, perfectly true, given the multiplicity of faiths, given their mutual incompatibility, all believers should expect damnation purely as a matter of probability. before I go deeper into this issue of religious truth, I just want to illustrate how confused a person must be to argue that it is reasonable to believe in God because religion is useful, because it gives life meaning, because it makes people more moral than they otherwise would be, as the rabbi suggested, because it makes people happy, any of the benefits you could imagine of religion. Okay, imagine you're walking down the street and you run into an old friend, and he looks radiantly happy. You ask him what's going on in his life, and he tells you that everything changed for him the day he realized that he was destined to marry Angelina Jolie. It might occur to you to ask, why does he believe this? I mean, Angelina Jolie is, after all, one of the most beautiful and famous people on the planet. She's not incidentally married to Brad Pitt. They have something like 27 children at this point. Okay, what if your friend, sensing your skepticism, said, "You clearly don't understand. This belief gives my life meaning. Okay, I now know my purpose in life. It's to be Angelina's husband." What if your friend said that this belief has made me a better person? I'm now incredibly kind to children, anticipating having to raise Angelinas once Brad leaves. Or what if your friend said to you, "You can believe whatever you want, but I wouldn't want to live in a universe where I don't marry Angelina Jolie." Okay, it should be quite clear at this point that your friend has lost his mind. Okay, and it's probably a dangerous person, and yet this is precisely the kind of talk that so often passes for wisdom in religious circles and may attempt to pass for wisdom here. Certainly the morality argument is of that sort. Beliefs are not like clothing. Okay? Comfort and utility and attractiveness cannot be our conscious criteria for adopting them. To believe a proposition, you have to believe that you have good reasons for believing it. And the effect that this belief will have on your life cannot be among those reasons. And this is what it is to be clouded by bias. This is why we have phrases like wishful thinking and self-deception. To really believe that there is a God is also to believe that you stand in some relation to his existence, such that if he didn't exist, you wouldn't believe in him. How does the supposed usefulness of religion fit into this scheme? It doesn't. So let's return to this question of truth. It's very common for people to say there's no conflict between religion and science because they relate to different subject matters. Okay, this is a lie. Religion and science both make claims about the way the world is. They make incompatible claims about the same reality, and they make these claims based on very different standards of evidence and modes of argument. It should be quite clear that there's a conflict, a perfect conflict, between demanding good evidence for what you believe and being satisfied with bad evidence or no evidence. So religion and science are in conflict because there's no way to disentangle religious and scientific truth claims. The claim that Jesus was born of a virgin, say, it's a central claim to Christianity. It is also a claim about biology. The claim that he rose from the dead and will return to earth is a claim about history. It's a claim about the human survival of death. It's a claim apparently about human flight without the aid of technology. Jews, Christians, and Muslims, while they disagree on many things, all agree that on the day of judgment, every person who has ever lived will be physically resurrected. Just which scientific laws does this violate? One's tempted to say all of them. If the basic claims of religion are true, science is so blind to this underlying reality, and the laws of nature are so susceptible to supernatural modification as to render the whole enterprise of science ridiculous. If, on the other hand, the basic claims of religion are false, most of the people on this planet are profoundly confused about the nature of reality and beset by quite irrational hopes and fears. And many people are simply wasting their lives and spreading delusion, often with tragic results. It seems to me no thinking person can be indifferent between the two sides of this dichotomy. Now, it's often imagined that non-believers like myself must be in principle closed to spiritual life. This is not true. You can have a deep spiritual and ethical life without lying to yourself or to your children about the nature of reality, without pretending to know things you do not know. There's nothing that prevents a non-believer from experiencing ecstasy and self-transcending love and rapture and awe. In fact, there's nothing that prevents a non-believer from going into a cave and practicing meditation for a year like a proper mystic. What non-believers don't tend to do is make unjustified and unjustifiable claims about the nature of the cosmos and about the divine origin of certain books on the basis of those experiences. That is a difference worth noticing. So I want to suggest to you that whatever is true about our circumstance, ethically and spiritually, can be discovered now and can be talked about in language compatible with our growing scientific understanding of the world and of the human mind. Whatever discoveries are there to be made about how to maximize human well-being can be talked about in language that is not an outright affront to all that we've come to know in the last 2,000 years. And to subscribe to one of the Iron Age religions, like Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, is to make the tacit claim that that is impossible, that there is, in fact, no way to understand our circumstance using the tools of our modern understanding of the world, that some measure of superstition is necessary, some measure of mythology, that we have to lie just this much. The point is, we can place our confidence only in human conversation. And the question is, do you want to place it in a 21st century conversation where we have all of the world's literature and learning available to us? Or do you want to place it in a first century conversation or a 7th century conversation as preserved in one of our holy books? Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much. I want to rise to Sam Harris's challenge, which is the idea of trying to address issues of religion, God, immortality, but in a 21st century way. I want to examine the compatibility or incompatibility between science and religion. But for me, these are not purely abstract or theoretical questions. A few years ago, my dad died. About a year ago, my best friend got cancer. And he's a very successful entrepreneur. And he said to me, Dinesh, the apparent normalcy of our everyday life is a sham. We basically live every day as if we are never going to die tomorrow. And he says, suddenly I wake up and discover I am going to die tomorrow. He says, all my past achievements, all my current projects, all my future plans are instantly jeopardized by this great wrecking ball, death. Now, I have just published a book about life after death. It's called Life After Death, The Evidence. Why the evidence? Because I've believed in life after death since I was a child, but I believed it in a childish way. I believed it on the basis exclusively of faith. Now as I get older, I have a lot of questions about it, and that faith has to be scrutinized in the light of evidence. Here's the problem. The atheist is posing as the champion of reason and science and evidence. I want to begin by showing that on an issue crucial to religion, is there life after death? The atheist is not only as ignorant, but more ignorant than the religious believer. Here's why. If you said to a religious believer in this room, do you know if there's life after death? Do you believe that there's life after death? The religious guy would say, yeah. How do you know? Well, I know because it says so in the book of Daniel, or it says so in the book of Revelation. I know based on the Bible. In effect, God told me. Now, the atheist will be chuckling and laughing at this point and saying, that's preposterous. The religious believer doesn't know. No one has been to the other side of the curtain. No one has interviewed dead people. So the believer is claiming knowledge that the believer cannot possibly have. And this is, in a sense, true. But what if we were to turn the camera around and say to Christopher Hitchens, Sam Harris, or Daniel Dennett, do you believe there is life after death? They will say no. And you say, well, this is very interesting. You haven't been to the other side of the curtain either. You haven't interviewed any dead guys. What information do you have that the religious believer doesn't have? And the answer is none. And so the atheist and the believer are in exactly the same position. Both are making a truth claim, and both are totally ignorant. Both are stating a belief on a position on which neither one has any evidence at all. Now, I should say, a Christian. Sam Harris said earlier that there's a lot of incompatibility on our side of the aisle. This is not true. Christianity happens to be the only religion in the world that holds another religion, Judaism, to be absolutely and completely true. That's why in Christianity the New Testament is put on top of the Old Testament, and both are Holy Scripture. But I want to look at the issue of life after death in the time I have in a scientific way. And the argument I want to make is that this idea, preposterous though it seems, is in fact supported by the best empirical and scientific evidence we have now. I want to begin by talking for a moment about physics. Because as a Christian, if you were to ask me, do you believe there's life after death? I would say, on faith, I believe yes. And you say, well, where's it going to take place? And I say, well, it'll take place in heaven.
NS.
Say, well, where's heaven? Is it up in the sky above the clouds?
Walk down.
I'd say, no, Christians, like Jews, believe that heaven is another realm. It's a place that's eternal. God is eternal. What does eternal mean? Outside of space and time. And then you say, well, don't you believe that when you live on after death, your soul will be united to a body? And I would say, yeah, Christians believe that your soul will be reunited to a resurrected body, but it's going to be different than any body we have now. It's going to be a material body, but in some senses it will be incorruptible. It will last forever. Now, 200 years ago, if you said this, it would make absolutely no scientific sense. Because we lived in a Newtonian universe, and if you raise the question of a realm outside the universe, there was no outside. Space and time are presumed to extend infinitely in all directions. If somebody were to say to you, space stops at that wall, you would say ridiculous. There's what's on the other side of the wall, more space. Today, however, if you send your son or daughter to a local university, an introductory course in physics, they will learn right away that not only did the universe have a beginning, the Big Bang, but space and time also had a beginning. Another way to put this is that space and time are properties of our universe. Beyond our universe, no space, no time, or different laws of space and time. Today, scientists will speak about hidden dimensions, other realms, multiple universes. What do we know about multiple universes? Not a whole lot, but one thing we do know, the laws that they operate under, if there are any laws, are not the same as the laws of our universe. Moreover, today, scientists say that matter, in the Newtonian universe, they would say resurrected bodies that live forever. This is crazy. We know what matter is. It has defined and fixed qualities. But today, scientists will speak about dark matter and dark energy. And what do we know about dark matter? That it has attributes or qualities different from any matter that we have encountered or is detectable by any scientific instrument. And if you add up all the dark matter and dark energy in the universe, what percentage of total matter and energy does it amount to? 95%. And so when the atheist, but pulling himself into false superiority, says, well, this idea of bodies, material bodies that last forever is ridiculous, the answer is, sorry, pal. Why is it ridiculous? It's ridiculous because we know what matter is. But how can you know what matter is when you only have 5%? My point is that we should be a little modest in the arrogance of our atheism. Why? Because modern
Intimidating
science
show.
itself has opened up possibilities. It has shown us wider horizons than we knew before. Now, the issue of life after death ultimately is an issue on which certain knowledge is not possible. Why? Because as Shakespeare said, death is the undiscovered country. We don't know. And therefore it might seem that the intelligent position when you don't know is agnosticism. I'm going to suspend judgment until the facts come in. I want to suggest that this is actually the dumbest position of all. And here's why. Imagine if you are dating a woman and trying to consider the question of should you ask her to marry you. Now, the fact is you can use all the reasonable knowledge at your disposal, but if you say, what is life with this woman going to be like for the next 50 years, you can never know. So you say, okay, since I cannot know, I'll be an agnostic, I'll wait for the data to come in. But the data will never be in. If you keep waiting, she will marry someone else or you will both be dead. So the point is that agnosticism is, from a practical point of view, a foolish position. We are all in the position of jurors. We're facing a question, and as Kierkegaard said, life has to be lived forward. We have to make a decision. We have to act. If we believe in life after death, it's a decision that is not only supported by truth, but good for us. Thank you very much.
Buenos dias, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for coming. You might not think it to look at me, but my background is a British family of the Royal Navy. And the examination for captaincy in the Navy used to be a very demanding one. You can read it in the novels of Forrester, and maybe some of you have read Jack Aubrey, getting the nautical commission. Came a day when a young man was sitting for his exam, and he was asked what he would do if a great wind got up and was blowing him towards the rocks.
Evasion.
And he said he would tack to starboard and pile on extra sail. They said the admirals, what if the wind continues to blow you towards the rocks? And they're on the port side. He said, I continue to tack to starboard and I'd add another mainsail, or stud sail. And they asked him the question again, and he gave the same answer. And finally, one of the admirals said, where are you getting all this sail from? And the young captain-to-be said, the same place you're getting all that wind from. The relevance of my story, which you must already be asking yourself about, is this. What matters is not what you think, but how you think. And all the discoveries have been made, and all the enlightenment that's come to us is from the scientific and the philosophical method, not that of a priori assumptions of faith or the belief that wisdom comes from revelation. So now we know what the church used to tell us wasn't possible, which is that we are a primate species produced by evolution on an Earth where 99.9% of all species hitherto, I won't say created, that have hitherto appeared, have already become extinct. And now a good number of religious people will now accept that, but it took them a while. And you can see the process by which they try and explain things away and then try and take credit for them. At first it was argued that God had put the fossil bones in the rock so people's faith could be tested. Nice try. Didn't last long. Then the various attempts which still go on to try and ban the good news of evolution. And then now many Christians and some Christian authorities, and some Jewish ones too, say, no, of course it did all happen, and it's amazing to look at the evidence and the extraordinary scope and variety and even beauty of it. In fact, come to think of it, it proves that God must have been even cleverer than we thought. Now, you'll notice that there's something completely useless about this argument. It doesn't teach you anything, and it cannot be falsified. And an argument that supposedly explains everything invariably explains nothing at all. The physicist who discovered the Big Bang, I'm moving from evolution now, was actually a Catholic priest in holy orders and a professor at the University of Louvain. And after his quarrel with Einstein about general relativity and his hypothesis of the Big Bang, he went to the Pope and he said, look, this is how I think everything began. In fact, I think it's a sure thing. And it's very important. And the Pope said, well, if you're right, I can have it taught as dogma in the schools, if you like, so everybody has to believe it. Now, you see again the difference of method and approach. That wouldn't have been a gain for the theory of relativity or for the study of physics, to have it preached as revealed
I
truth.
don't really
We still don't know a great deal
know.
about what happened in the first instance of our cosmos. We still don't know
Yeah,
quite
yeah,
how the
I don't really know
quantum
what's going
works.
on.
We know it does, we
Time to
don't
be
quite know
drunk
why.
again.
And therefore, I'm going to argue in the time I have that the
Psychic
late, great
scream.
Stephen Jay Gould, a non-believer, was wrong when he said that religion and science can be made compatible.
Eyes
Just
blown
said,
out.
I'm not really sure what's
I'm
going
very
on.
glad that there's a
Doesn't
counter
seem
up
to
there.
be
I wish you could keep your eye on
really
it as
drunk
well.
again.
Every second,
yeah.
every single second, a sun, a star, like our own, the equivalent of our own,
Fuck.
blows up and goes
Mama.
out. That happens every
Mama, I
second.
was
Okay?
lying.
If I keep to time,
Yeah.
see if you can imagine this. Our brains
it's a
aren't really
YouTube
constructed to
stream.
imagine it very well. If I keep to my time,
Do you need
540
any program for that, or? Yeah. So you can download that from the YouTube. They're giving link you to watch it using that and or okay. Is it going out
Psychic scream.
with good quality? Okay, because
Cold blood.
I'm recording at the moment with the OBS, and I'm getting really good quality records on the computer side,
Freezing
but
trap.
when I'm putting them to Sony Vegas, it's going to be a fucking horrible shit. What?
First aid.
Yeah, but I've watched every fucking video. The quality drops every time when I don't know what to do. Yeah, it's not horrible, but could be better in my. Have you watched any of my videos? It's pretty bad. Considering I can record it with the full quality settings and stuff. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm not good with the video editing.
Intimidating shout. Shield wall.
When you
Berserker
stream on that
range.
YouTube, does it save your...
Shield
When
wall
you
down.
stream on that YouTube, does it save your things to there? Ah,
Fear.
yeah. How much videos you can save
Poly.
from the... Yeah, like how much gigabytes or something? Oh, nice. Can you edit them there, like clipping and just... Ah. Ah, okay. Ah, yeah. Okay.
Look at the evidence and the extraordinary scope and variety and even beauty of it. In fact, great stars and suns will have vanished from the cosmos. It's a sobering thought. We're fortunate in being around to observe the continuing effects of the Big Bang and the mass destruction that it's unleashed. Future generations, if there are enough of them, won't be able to observe it so well. Why is that? Because as the Hubble telescope has shown us, the man for whom the telescope was named, Edwin Hubble,
No,
was
it's
slightly
actually
wrong. He knew the Big Bang was still
kinda
going on. He
same
knew
what
the
I
universe
do,
was
I
still
guess.
expanding. But he thought the universe rate of expansion would start to slow. What's been discovered by studying the red light shift is to the contrary. It's blowing apart much faster than we thought, and with huge, massive swathes
Yeah, but
of
look
actual
like
current and
this.
potential and future destruction. Soon, two galaxies, you can already see it
That's
in the
my
night sky. You can see the future in the sky already, not as a vision, not as a revelation,
It's not
not as
that
an omen
horrible.
or a portent. You can see the Andromeda galaxy coming towards you. The collision
But
between
it's
our
a lot
galaxy and
better when
Andromeda
it
is a
comes out
certainty.
from the
It's
ops to my
inscribed in all the laws
computer.
of physics. We know it's coming.
Like a
It'll
lot
destroy some
when I'm
stars, but
watching
it'll probably succeed
it on
in
like
making
Windows
it an
Media
operation.
Player and
Maybe
shit.
it'll become the only remaining
So something
galaxy.
fucks up when I'm
See if you
uploading.
think that
But
religion
it's
is
a
any
lot
help
better
to you
when
in
it comes
considering
out from the
that
ops to
very
my
real and
computer.
important fact. A little while before this momentous event, I'm sorry to have to report, our own star will be disqualified from taking part in the grand merger because it, along with the 540 suns that will be lost to us in the course of my remarks, will blow up and swell up and burn out. And joining its 540 predecessors. And in more
How much
proximate
delay
news,
do you have on those streams?
what I might call more local, more suburban news, the luminosity of our sun is increasing at a very alarming rate, and in an easily foreseeable future,
That's kinda lame.
temperature
Should
of
be
our
like
little planet will become that of Venus. In
Ah.
other words, it will be completely uninhabitable. And that'll be a small, but obviously to us very interesting development. And it will complete
yeah.
a grand slam. So
Yeah.
far, all the other
I'm not
planets
that
in our
low to
tiny
watch
suburban
actually your
solar
stream
system
during the
are
Varhung,
not
but
conditioned to support life.
some people might. We was actually playing Counter Strike a lot in one point. We had one team what bragged about their skills and their streams, and they were streaming the Counter Strike game. Yeah, it was really stupid,
Evasion.
especially in game like that. Like we know what they buy it in start and shit. It was like
Nothing I've
fucking
said
stupid.
could be overthrown by any.
I guess it
All we'll
doesn't
find out
matter
is
in
more
vanilla game.
about it.
Do you stream
We don't
without
say
the
all non-truth claims or fake
delay or
claims.
not?
We know
Evasion
when we
down.
don't. I'm sorry, Dinesh. Atheists do not say we know there is no God. We say, to the contrary, no argument and no evidence has ever been adduced that we consider to be persuasive. There's no reason to believe in evidence or argument, ontology or science. The same with the afterlife. Of course we don't say that we know there isn't one. We say that we don't know anyone who can bring any reason to think that there is. This is a
Freezing
very
trap.
important distinction, and it's very regrettable that you miss it.
oh,
I'm sorry
I'm
to
going out.
say, Dinesh, that the
Fucking-
immediate loser in an argument about things of which we can and can't be certain, where the only thing that is certain in these laws is the principle of uncertainty. The immediate loser, the man who has to leave the island, sorry Dinesh again, right away almost, is the one who says, I already know.
I
what
had
need to know. I already have all the
650
Sprint, Earth bind.
monologues last week, and when I was only standing
I don't
12
know you,
or
ladies and
something,
gentlemen, but when I hear people on the bus saying that they're talking to God,
I don't really need.
well, what do you? Do you move closer to that person, or am I right in thinking you edge
Yeah, I
slightly
know,
away?
I know.
I think that's a very good thing.
Yeah, I know, but
I won't
I
be
kind of
able
wanna
to
rush
repeat
and start
everything I
to get
wanted to say. I've
higher
saved
and
it for the
then,
next 4
like I
minutes.
didn't pop any mark.
The argument that some
Already like
finally adduce
9
against
pages of
against
marks
the laws of
saved, and
physics and the heat death of our universe is, well, don't spread the news because it would lead people to despair.
Polly.
I don't want anyone to despair. We have a number of consolations. We have our own solidarity, we have love, we have literature, we have our duties to each other. What leads to despair
NS.
is to live the only life one
NS.
has, being told what to do.
are you
by
sure you can
despots
save them?
and crackpots and pseudoscientists who claim the right to order us around in the name of God. Humanity
What
has to
happens after the
outgrow
30 days
and
limit goes off?
transcend that oldest of all the tyrannies. Thank you very much.
Fear.
Are you sure? Okay,
Buenos dias. I want to say, first of all, I think
I
I'm
guess
not
I could
quite as
try it out.
eloquent as Andres made me sound.
I really
But
think
it's
I
true that when he emailed
wanna
me
rank this mail.
and
I
said,
don't know
so,
yet.
which side do you want to be on? Do you want to be with Christopher Hitchens and Sam Harris, or do you want to be with Rabbi Boteach and Dinesh D'Souza? I said, I think I disagree with all of those people. So I'm going to tell you what I meant by that, and then
Yeah, okay.
if you can decide whether I belong on one side or the other, or whether I just have to go back and sit in my chair and be lonely. As for why I don't think I believe on the side of
Evasion
I don't belong
down.
on that side, Christianity and Judaism are both religions of revelation. They believe that God revealed himself to Abraham and
Fucking
Moses.
Morelova is annoying as fuck. He's scared as fuck and he doesn't know
I don't believe that
what to
that's
do.
true. And more broadly, the way I think of the
So
universe
talking
is as
up
a
everything,
machine.
but he's actually
It's a materialist system
about to kill
that
us
runs
with the
in
fucking
accordance
dog.
with the laws of science, and I don't see anything around me that can't, in principle, be explained by the laws of science. So I don't assume the existence of a God that intervenes in history. As to why I don't think I feel comfortable on that side of the aisle, well, first of all, a number of atheists seem to me, notwithstanding what Christopher said, to speak as if they're sure that there is no God of any kind. And I think anyone who speaks
hope
that
not.
way is kind of failing to display the intellectual humility that all of us should display, given the fact that our brains were designed by natural selection.
But it's fun to
very
PvP with
mundane things
like these lower
finding
gear
and
guys.
finding
In
mates,
meanwhile,
not to understand the
I
ultimate
kinda like
nature
this stuff.
of
You
reality,
actually need to
okay?
think
So I just
something
kind of
then.
think I don't know
Like when...
what lies beyond. My mind isn't designed to
No,
understand certain
no,
things.
no. I know what,
And
that
I
wasn't
must say,
what I meant,
disagree with the
but
so-called new
I meant
atheists.
when you are playing
The label has
yourself.
been applied to all three of these people. I think
Yeah.
because they argue that they are said to
Yeah,
argue that
like
religion is
I don't have
bad
any
and should be
skills, but
expunged from the earth. I think religion is not intrinsically
can
bad.
probably kill
On
some
balance,
tier
it's
3
been
folks.
good. I
Fun
have
versus
decided
fun
to
and
look
shit,
them
but
out
it's
of
more fun
the
than playing
way.
Cuckoo. A lot more fun.
But the biggest reason
Like
probably that
Cuckoo is almost best in slot, and I have
most
every
would reject
possible
me and would kick me off of
engineering
the team,
gadget and shit.
is
Tuner
that when
doesn't
I
have
look
any.
at the kind of life on Earth, the system of life
Cuckoo?
on Earth, I see some evidence of a
No,
larger
no,
purpose
not PvP gear.
okay? That is to say, when I see the evolution through natural selection from one-celled life,
Yeah, I have some PvP gear, but
and I see how that intelligent life launched a second process of evolution, cultural
like I have
evolution,
almost
technological evolution, and how that is carrying
everything, I guess.
social organization of that species to higher
I
and
miss
higher levels.
PvP
now the
net
global level.
from
I
Pancrase.
think there is, in various
I don't know.
ways, evidence of some
There's not
purpose,
much upgrades
unfolding.
except the
Now,
rank
as I
14
said, I
stuff
view the system
and
of life
30.
as a machine, but machines can have purpose. Airplanes are machines; their purpose is to fly. This does raise
Maybe
the
the 4
question
horseman
what I
leggings.
think
I don't know.
ingrained this purpose in life. And as I said, I don't believe in a God that intervenes. It could conceivably be a kind of God that at the beginning of time launched the universe, and the laws of the universe were such that life was likely to arise, and so on.
Also,
So
I don't...
the purpose was written into the laws of the universe. That's a
Like,
kind
I
of
don't have any tier 2
God.
on
But I should
Cuckoo.
also
Like
say
maybe
that I
One
think it's
Piece.
possible
That would
for
be
something
cool.
to have purpose that was not ingrained by a conscious
Pretty good on
being.
PvP.
Okay, so, and a number of philosophers agree on this point. So, for example, they might say that animals
Cold
have a kind
blood.
of purpose. They have goals, but it was ingrained by natural selection, which is not
Thunderfury would be awesome.
so I don't know where, if I'm right, that there is purpose.
I lost one binding
I don't know
already
what it
on
Sprint.
is,
Phuket.
or whether there's a God. Now you
That was
might
sad.
ask, well, does this purpose deserve the name divine? Leaving aside the question of whether there's a God. And I would say, maybe.
They
And
didn't get
the
to get
reason is this: that I see a
us.
moral
Pansaranna.
Berserker range.
in this, a moral dimension to this purpose. As I said in my talk on Friday, I think that technological
How deep
evolution
is
has
not
brought
deep?
people ever since the Stone Age in contact with more and more people at greater and greater
Yeah,
distances.
thank you.
Has made them interdependent with more and more people, and that gives them reason to work with those people to acknowledge
people-
the humanity of
People are not turning their
which I think is
cameras.
important.
They didn't
So
know
now
even
we're
you
at
are
a
in properly in their back.
of that process where the world is on the verge of
Yeah,
a
that's
global
also-
civilization. But I think we will only succeed in trying to build an orderly global civilization if people everywhere get better at acknowledging the humanity of people who live far away and at putting themselves in the shoes of people who are in very different circumstances, even in the shoes of their rivals and their
Romer
enemies.
propaganda
I
like a
think
crit
we have
hard.
to exercise our moral
Fuck
imagination
this
for
Labusa
people
is
everywhere
annoying.
if we're
We're
going
just
to
standing in our
make
graveyard
peaceful
and
and
feared
orderly,
everyone. And then run it away.
Okay. So you might say, I mean, to put it in mildly biblical terms, you might say that I think the salvation of
Yeah, I'm recording all the versions nowadays any day.
the Old Testament sense of salvation population, the preservation of a healthy society, depends on moral progress, on continued moral progress. And I think maybe you could call that, if that reflects a purpose, as I think it may well, you could call that divine if you want to. In any event, I'd say that this worldview of mine, even though I don't associate with this purpose necessarily with a God, it helps me orient my moral life, even my spiritual life. And so it does for me some of the things that religion
Oh, you
does
had
for
that
people.
shit. Oh.
William James, the American psychologist and philosopher, said that religious belief is the belief that there is an unseen order and that your supreme interest lies in harmoniously adjusting yourself to that order. Well, in that sense, maybe I'm religious, and maybe I belong on that side of the
Did you
aisle,
really
I don't
fuck
know.
this
Although,
mind
I have
control?
to say, the book of mine that Andres mentioned, The Evolution of God,
Does your mind control is booked out? I can run freely, but your teammates are friendly to me.
way of showing it, I've got to say. At the same time, it's been denounced by atheists.
I'm running freely, I can mount and stuff, but all your teammates shows as friendly to me and I can attack them.
Fear.
Be nice.
Fear.
It's off now. Coming for you again. Oh no, you are over 4k health. I can't nuke anything with this kid. Especially you have this fucking hunter and enemy. No, I'm not fire, I'm elemental.
Ice block.
Big difference. I have like every slow talent on frost 3 and then I have just blast wave from fire.
Thank you very much. Many of you are probably wondering, what am I doing here today? No? I'm supposed to be here yesterday talking about the full
Fuck.
about how economists are charlatans, how social science is composed of charlatanism.
That fucking pet has followed me during the whole fucking map. This is fucking unbelievable.
Fear.
I hate that shit.
The very same people trust
Wait, the new Korea is going to be so awesome.
distrust the priest.
The Rogue is at least going to be awesome. You can vanish from the area, fire and roof.
Not to be a turkey? To me, the perfect turkey is the person who trusts what they learn at school in social science, economics. Those who think that with science and equation we can track a lot of reality. We can't. I've tried. And those who think that it's good to invest your 401k in the stock market, at the same time doubting religion. We've been doing religion for a very long time. I have a problem with this discussion on many grounds. The first one
Fucking Phuket up.
because
In public ground.
it's not about belief.
Dash.
I'll tell you later why science also is not about belief. But let me show you first. Everything in life is about decisions. But religion itself is not about belief. Yesterday, I was having drinks with Ricardo Salinas, and he got the
Freezing
point right away.
trap.
I told them the credo, okay? What did credo means originally? Doesn't mean what we mean by belief in the scientific sense today. You realize that credit comes from credo. It means I trust. The credo, the initial credo, is about trust. Amen
Fear.
in Hebrew, and it's confirmed by
Fear.
the rabbi, is I trust you. Okay? Same thing in Arabic, same thing in Greek, same thing even in English. Belief comes from, is linked to beloved. Let me think about uncertainty again. We have
Fear.
had the scientific arrogance coming from the
Will of the
Enlightenment
Forsaken.
that is starting to blow up the world, with us learning to make decisions based on information. Before the scientific Enlightenment, we were much wiser. What did we do? We knew how to take decisions based on incomplete information, incomplete understanding, and incomplete knowledge, what I call opacity. And that's what religions did. Then Ariely confirmed that if you believe in evolution, and you see that in all societies, evolution creates religion that evolve without breaking for such a long time, it means they got a purpose. Now we live in a world of human arrogance, epistemic arrogance, I call it. We humans cannot be trusted with knowledge. We automatically turn arrogant about knowledge. I said yesterday how if you give someone information, even if it's
maybe
terrible
go
information, and most information
back
you
on
get from
Frost.
people is
It's like
You
I have
will
more utility, but I don't have that much AoE or burst damage. So it's kinda shit when I need to 1 versus 1 some beast players.
We humans don't know how to say I don't know.
Like my frost bolts are hitting 700-ish. Takes a year to kill anything above 3k health.
You know what that word is? God knows. So this is how you deal with incomplete information, and we've done it for a very long time.
Like going in big through, and you do frost nova, you get 15%
Let me now talk about
increase.
science. Why? In
Then you
decisions in
blast
life, we
wave
don't care
1k to
about
everything,
science. We don't care
and
about what. I'm glad Dennis is here.
Coney of gold there 1k also.
True and false.
Fucking nice.
I learned that as a trader because I make bets on unlikely events. So if they tell me, do you think the market is going to go down? I say no. The statement the market will go down tomorrow is not true. But yet I'm betting. Why? There's a small probability, huge payoff. We make decisions based on payoff. When I see water on a floor, do I drink it?
Dash.
No. But if someone told me, do you think this water, do you have evidence that this water is poisonous? I say no. I have no evidence it's poisonous, but I don't drink it. Life is about decision based on a code of probabilities. And religion helped us with that. Finally, there's one thing about negative advice. When you go to a bookstore, Barnes & Noble in the States, you have nothing but books telling you how to get rich in 10 steps, what to do, what to do, what to do. You cannot give someone negative advice. These are charlatans selling you stuff for $14, okay? If they know how to get rich, they wouldn't be there. Someone who tells you he knows how to do something typically is a fraud, typically, statistically. Those who tell you what not to do, don't get into debt, don't go into, typically, these examples don't have what I call survivorship biases, so these are better. Negative advice, unfortunately, cannot be conveyed as advice. It can be conveyed, and I heard the word dogma, as dogma, not as what we call kerygma, which is the opposite of dogma.
Did you heard we killed the Tapir on today?
Set a dogma. You shall not borrow. Okay?
Yeah.
You will not sell derivatives. You will not
Has been a long time.
justify it. So this is what religion does. Thank you for listening for my first part.
Just like half a year. Yeah, but realistically it's probably like half a year. No, maybe like 5 months. Yeah, like we got a lot of new people now when DP went down. Yeah, that helped on 4 horsemen. I guess we had 2 DP tanks. Shabalala was tanking and the Gurok helped a lot. Oh yeah, the Swag Oil was tanking. Yeah, Swag Oil and Shabalala was both tanking 4 horsemen. What? Nah, they were the only 2 of them, like 6 tanks from us. 6 tanks from old Chaos, and like Chabalala and Swag Oil respected the tanks. We had like 7 or 8 tanks total. No. Safiran was today like, was kinda okay, we got it like on 3rd try or something. 3rd or 4th. We did AQ beforehand. We didn't have enough people on start, so we went to Twins and then to Safiro. Yeah, it's always like that. I got 6 drops from AQ to Pygmy. I got the ring from Huhuran and the Twins plus heal bracer. I'm almost best in slot prep Dyrn now. Yeah, but it's yeah, of course, yeah, I understand that. Isn't any problem for me. Yeah. Nah. Okay. No, how is that possible? They will succeed then. What? Is it up? Yeah, but it's the Warzone up. Yeah, but I mean, is the Warzone Gunge up? Fuck, I thought it. Fuck, I didn't get the pop. I was too.
Scatter shot. Sprint. Blind. Silence.
Wait, Almisal is online. I'm going to taunt him somehow. Wait.
Dash. Cold blood.
I want the ball.
Blade flurry. Psychic scream. Dash. NS.
From where? I'm not in Varhan.
Yeah, wait. Wait a second, I need to find the link. Wait, I'm just opening. I closed it already. Oh, why are you at EPF? Why are you at Eastern Playground? Is this right stream? No. How do I make Robert Berg? Yeah, I clicked it that I got your old video somehow. It's hard. The fuck do I push the lever? Yeah, can you link again? It's too hard for me. Yeah, can you link again? It's too hard for me. Okay, I can see now. Where? Can you zoom around? I'm not pretty sure where you are. Like, move the camera. Okay, I can see now. Yeah, I know. Oh, you are near the Allu graveyard. Can you zoom around? I'm not pretty sure where you are. Like, move the camera. I don't know. I don't have any idea. I don't think so. I never have seen anyone doing. Maybe with mates to blink and Abusa, but yeah, I don't think you can get up from there. You can get up from near of your graveyard with the wall climbing.
Psychic Scream. Evasion. Silence. Evasion down. Will of the Forsaken. NS.
Wait. I need talking with the druid applicant.
Will of the Forsaken.
Well, I'm not really sure. Because, like, there's a spot in front of you, you know, when you are running to the Horde base, and the left door from the balcony entry, you can go top of that door, and it's Abu Hafle. I don't know why, because everyone can jump there, but it's Abu Hafle.
Protection down. NS. Silence. Intimidating shout. Monotide. Earthbind.
Where? I was I was AFK. I'm here now. Kill him. I hate him. And this beat attack. I'm back.
NS. Hell of Terror.
Fuck, I need to wake up in 4 hours. I don't like this.
Freezing Trap.
Send this PV.
Freezing trap. Freezing trap.
How do you have 8.2k HP, Pansaranna? What the fuck? You have flash? You have done everything right? Yeah, I can see it. Butler standard flash for to the kings. Yeah. This is really fun. Yeah, I'm just going off. I'm not even trying. This is fucking bullshit. No, I'm going to do. This is going to Turku. Slash AFK. Yeah, something else in. No, I'm playing something else. Oh yeah, that would be nice. Could be kinda hard to purge.
Freezing trap. NS. Grounding.
No, I didn't get caught.
Protection down.
No.
Scatter shot. Freezing trap. Evasion.
Lol.
Freezing trap.
That shit is annoying.
Be right back.
Freezing trap. Scatter shot. Freezing trap. Freezing trap. Scatter shot. Freezing trap. Evasion. Freezing trap. Dash. Sprint. Evasion. Scatter shot. Grounding. Tremor. NS. Freezing trap. Dash.
DD. What's that add-on what calls in voices your like cooldowns and what happened? The girl who calls you like Dash. Hey, it's your speed. Oh, okay.
Cold blood. Dash. Evasion down. Sprint.
Why isn't Lopia kicking anything? Why isn't Lopia kicking anything?
Dash.
What's that? Ah, yeah. Blessing of bullshit, yeah.
Blind.
Yeah. Do you have some fucking add-on what says what class are on you? Like you're saying Rokue on me? Well, nice. Is it possible jump to make? Yeah, me too. On start, there's a like 10-second delay on stream. Oh, yeah, yeah. Now I understand, yeah. Nice. You can make that also with Nockenfokker a bit faster, but... yeah, of course. Why wasn't you attacking that road? Ah, yeah. Yeah, that's the point where I mean, where are you jumping at the moment? No, but I mean the spot where you jump from the road. That's Abu Zakledin, do you know? It is. I don't remember who it was. It was either Deep Line or someone. We got warned about that. Yeah, but it's still Abu Zakle because GMs think so. Oh, I still don't get the pop. I want to go sleep, but I want to do one marathon. Yeah, I'm just counting that someone is going to Alta.
Silence. Evasion. Grounding. Psychic scream.
What is the Kuepalka do?
Earthbind.
Fucking turtle shit. I want to play. Oh, yeah. Be right back, like 30 seconds.
Evasion.
I'm back now. Oh, is it going to be two against one? Oh, nice. No. Did you have that Sinner rock all the time, or did you just recently got it? Did you have the Sinner rock all the time, or did you just recently got it? I can actually see what people have because the floating health bar hits. It would be nice to have some cooler add-on to that. I don't know. I neither don't see anything or then I just seeing the health bars, but I kinda wanna see the health bar.
Psychic Scream.
When you are jumping down, right? Ah, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah. He is so angry. You should see. Like he, I don't understand. He always, when he was starting at Chaos, playing at PvE, and when we told him he should farm some runs and he sucks and stuff like that, he got a really fucking pissed and called us with the names and like we shouldn't treat people like that. But whenever he plays PvP, he's doing exactly the fucking same thing.
Inner Focus. Dash.
What's your health bar called? No, I mean the ones what you should see top of the enemies. No.
Scatter Shot.
Yeah. Maybe. No. Can you type the name on TeamSpeak so I can get it from the memory? Yeah, I got it now.
Earthbind. Tremor. Dash. Grounding. Earthbind. Dash. Freezing Trap. Dash. Earthbind. Scatter shot. Earthbind. Grounding. Freezing trap. Evasion. Blind. Evasion down.
Luffy above the distance. Are you dying in this part?
Earthbind. Scatter shot.
Doing what?
Cold blood.
Yeah.
Scatter shot. Earthbind.
It's trying to nuke you down. Yeah, they do. They do. Yeah, but it's still considered as fear. You can take that off also with the PvP trinket. I want to play. I don't think Alliance or Horde is going even one more. That was just a fucking long turtle again.
Evasion.
What?
Freezing trap.
Whoa, my.
NS.
So the blackout now.
NS. Grounding.
Okay, is fucking auto shooting you from there. Just fucking AFK. Lie. I don't have any idea what's going to get fixed. All I know is I can vanish from fire if I. Have you been on test server? Yeah, of course. Oh fuck. They delete mana cat. Ah, I thought it was going to end soon, but
Earthbind.
oh.
Psychic scream.
After the fear. Oh shit. What? You're like really on the edge. Lol, nice.
Dash.
That is also going to be fixed, right? Is it broken somehow, or are you just... I don't know, are they like clever enough? I don't think so. No. What? Can you get those human mounts as a human... follow mount as human? Or what the fuck is that? Wolf. What are you riding? What do you have?
Freezing trap. Dash. Psychic scream.
Yeah.
Inner focus. Freezing trap.
Reju was kinda close. Yeah. Oh yeah, it ended now? Be right back.
What can I do for you? Talk to me.
Oh, hello, hello. No, it's 5 versus 6. This is boring. I'm going to watch the stream. Meanwhile, but I can check, like, can you inspect them now? I don't know. Someone to get my berserker. Oh, TR. Fuck.
Mind control. Will of the Forsaken.
Yeah.
Sprint.
Lay on hands. You understand why? Oh fuck, I tried to vanish from that stuff. No, he's not going to heal. Up, sir, up, sir. Fucking god. Yeah, I'm not going to catch you now. It actually makes a lot when you get someone to even heal you a little bit. Oh, fucking reckless Stark, that's so fucked. How long cooldown is it on the hammer? Yeah, I will look. I got a crit. Got a lucky crit. Shouldn't have hit that hard. Yeah, it was 2 point eviscerate. I didn't use my cooldown yet.
Berserker range.
Except the speed.
Inner focus. Dash. Berserker range.
I don't know why I picked it up this black. I can just wanna. Oh.
Intimidating shout. Dash.
I can tell you. Fucking stupid priest. Fucking boring. Yeah. The fuck? First time in my life, I hope I don't greet you.
Psychic Scream.
What? This is fucking retarded, do you know that?
Cold Blood.
I don't really care if it's not going to kill anyone. It's just fucking annoying, you know. One granada. Use it wisely.
Dash.
Oh, what did you say? Sorry, I'm like Labusa is. Ah. It's fun. Yeah. Phuket is commenting. He is fresh somewhere. Ah, the game is going to end. Boring.
Berserker Rage.
Stop it.